Hereford against Chorley, against league leaders Chorley, and the teams come out led by the officials. The Hereford team is in goal number 1 Matt Yates, 2 Kieran Thomas, 3 Danny Greenslade, 4 Calvin Dinsley, 5 Jordan Cullinan-Liburd, 6 Josh Gowling, 7 Theo Wharton, 8 Tom Owen Evans, 9 Carl Finn, 10 James Roberts and 11 Mike Simmons. On the bench, Harvey Smith, Elliot Richards, Tommy O'Sullivan, Martin Horsell and the returning Keon Raffel. Nice to see Keon back there.
You feel like there could be a long ball coming as 4 or 5 Chorley players all line up to run forward down this right wing, but instead it's played out to Andy Teague, the captain, who indeed does send that long ball. Josh Gowling's underneath, and it's going to roll on to James Roberts, who manages to hoof it back upfield, but Courtney Mappen-Walters is underneath it, and then it comes out to centre field, out to Adam Blakewell, who flicks it, looks to flick it in behind, but Yates is going to comfortably gather just on the edge of his 6-yard box. And then it's back to Lewis Baines, who looks to play it down the line for Blakewell to play in behind, and he's asking Carver to run onto it, and Carver's coming into the box now. He looks to cross into the box and looking for Josh O'Keefe, but Danny Greenslade managed to head clear and plays the way he's facing. So gives it to Cullinan-Liburd, who then returns it back to Yates, and Yates goes to clear it, but it goes a long way up in the air and not very far forward, only as far as Kieran Thomas out on that right hand side. Kieran Thomas gives it straight to Josh O'Keefe, who plays in Josh Wilson, and Josh Gowling did well to get a foot in and block that, but Josh O'Keefe to have a second cross, and it's a low cross in towards Carver. Carver shoots with his left foot, and it's a great save by Matt Yates as Carver came into the box just on the edge of the 6-yard area, shoots with his left foot just on the left hand side of that 6-yard box. Matt Yates came out well. Dinsley stands over this free kick and again looks to take it quickly out to Danny Greenslade on this left hand side in towards James Roberts, who looks for the ball in behind for Tom Owen Evans. Tom Owen Evans creeping into the box, and it's cleared away, and it wasn't cleared very far because it took a ricochet off 2 Chorley players, but up as far as Challoner, and it's going to be a throw in out on this right hand side, taken quickly up towards Wilson, the striker, and comes back for Challoner to cross in, and Cullinan-Liburd gets a foot to it, but it's going to fall for Wilson on the edge of the area, and it was always going wide, but Kieran Thomas stabbed a toe out to it, and it's driven back in across by Blakeman, but instead Tom Owen Evans comes away with it and looks to play Simmons down the wing. Simmons, who's got Roberts up with him, looks for Roberts in the box, and Roberts just going to be a bit ahead of Roberts as it dived into the 6-yard box, but Roberts recovers and he comes into the box, looks to get it back across, but Roberts hasn't quite got the options that Simmons did have. Gives it to Dinsley on the edge of the area with a bit of frustration that it needed to go back in, as there is a few players in there now. Kieran Thomas looks to cross and it ricochets up in the air, and Mappen-Walters, and it falls for Carl Finn, who shoots. Mappen-Walters headed it against his own player for the 2nd time this match as a deflection in the Chorley box. It fell for Carl Finn, who sort of on the half volley with his left foot just fired it, and it was just slightly past Matt Owen's left-hand post. Kyle Finn to deliver up towards Cullinan-Liburd! Oh, and it has gone just past the post. That was a great chance. They take the throw in quickly and give it back to Greenslade. Greenslade on this left-hand side finds Tom Evans in the box. Kyle Finn gets it onto his left, and it's a good deflection. Oh, it's a good block by Mappen-Walters. Full for Tom Owen Evans inside the box, and he was just on the edge of the 6-yard box, and he snapped at it with his left boot, and he hit the side netting. And gives it to Tom Owen Evans, just 10 yards inside Chorley's half, right out on that right-hand side. Gives it to Dinsley. Dinsley looks to flick it in behind for Simmons to chase. Simmons is out on that right-hand side and has got Mappen-Walters for company, but it's going to fall for Greenslade, the cross, and it's going to be fizzed back straight in across, as it's then going to go out for a throw-in. Gowling looks to play it down the line for Roberts to chase, and Roberts is going to get hold of it here as he's just on the edge of the area on this left-hand side, looks to cross it in, and it's above everybody, but it nearly fell for Simmons at the back post. He stretched on the leg and did just get a touch to it, and as a result it's going to roll out for a goal kick, and it finds Dinsley. Dinsley clears away well, and Roberts has got Simmons ahead of him as he comes up to halfway line. Roberts travelling fast now and gives it out to Simmons on this left-hand side. Simmons checks back, he's got Teague for company. Simmons looks to get it onto his right boot and gives it to the edge of the area where Theo Wharton's there, and Theo Wharton shoots, and it's a good shot from Theo Wharton there as Matt Irwin had to fall to his left-hand side as it was definitely on-target shot, and it was good effort via Mepham Walters. And Alex Newby now coming down the left-hand side at pace. Fires it in but from Blakeman up towards Wilson, but it's over Wilson, and Carl Finn's just manages to get a toe on it and get it past Challoner. So it's going to come back to Andy Teague, who fizzes it into centre field. Gowling's underneath it, and it's going to fall for Carver, who's trying to head it down to Elliot Newby, and his brother Alex is in there as well. Finds Josh O'Keefe out to Challoner, who then plays it back to Teague, who then finds Elliot Newby in centre field. Good bit of interplay, as it's not going to quite come out for Chorley this time, and they go back to start again. Out to Baines, who then finds Challoner, and in behind, and Alex Newby's got time and space, and he shoots, and he had too much time, if we're completely honest, inside the box. Managed to take a touch with his right boot, spin on his left. He was just left of the box, span, turned his shoulder and shot across the goal. Wilson, who finds Josh O'Keefe, the former Bulls, looking to play in behind for Challoner, but instead Wilson gets in the way and gives it back to Teague. Teague, the captain for Chorley, looks to play into Alex Newby. Wilson then crosses and looks to catch Matt Yates slightly off guard. I think it definitely wasn't a shot, it was more of a cross, slightly misplaced, but it went straight in underneath the goal, and Matt Yates had to sort of parry it up over his bar with one hand. It's then Josh O'Keefe who loses it out and gives it back to Carl Finn inside the centre circle, and gives it out to Kieran Thomas on this right-hand side, up towards Simmons, who Simmons is in behind here if he can get hold of it. Simmons gets it back across box, and nobody's quite in at that front post. Headed back upfield and finds Carl Finn in the centre circle, coming into midfield now, and he's got Simmons for company. Carl Finn shoots, and it's straight at Irwin, but it was a good shot, it was on target, and Wilson sends it out to the right, but then it's checked back across, and it's a great long field ball for Chorley out to this other flank on this left-hand side for Carver to keep in play, give to Blakeman, who then gives it out to Elliot Newby. Elliot Newby attacking Elliot Richards, crosses it in, and Josh Gowling does well to clear away and get good distance on the headed clearance and gets it up to James Roberts from that. And it's Matt Yates takes the free kick up towards Simmons, who does well to get it back in play, but only finds Mepham Walters, who hoofs it clear, and Josh Gowling tries to get underneath that, and instead Carver backs onto him as the ball bounced over, and Wilson gives it to Carver, who then gets his shot away, and it's only just past the post as it was bouncing on through past Matt Yates' far left-hand post, and sends it back to Josh O'Keefe. Josh O'Keefe back to Baines, who then brings it out to this left-hand side for Blakeman to chest in, and it's chested well, by Carver, who's got Cullinane Liebert with him, and Cullinane Liebert does well to clear that. It was Blakeman who crossed it in, and it was chested down by Carver, but instead it's thrown in, and Josh O'Keefe to hit it, and he scores! Josh O'Keefe, the former Bulls man. It was a throw-in taken, and it came on the edge of it was thrown straight into just into the box, really, and Josh O'Keefe let it bounce and then swiped at it with a half volley and hit it very well with his right boot as it came across him in from the left-hand side and rifled straight past Matt Yates. 6-yard box, and it is thrown in towards Josh Gowling, and it's a bit of ricochet in the box for the third time this game, as there's a bit of confusion in Chorley's centre-backs as it just sort of they keep heading into each other almost. Tomo and Evans goes across to take this corner. It's going to be an outswinger as it's on the right-hand side with his right boot. Gowling and Cullinane Liebert are up, and it's headed clear by Mepham Walters as the goalkeeper is in no man's land, but it's only to the edge of the area. Elliot Richards stands, and it's then hoofed up in the air as James Roberts brings it down perfectly, turns and shoots, and it's deflected, and it's going to go out for another corner. Theo Walter manages to get it back out to Danny Greenslade, and it's crossed in towards Mike Simmons, and Mike Simmons was just a bit, he was just underneath it. Had it been a fraction lower, the cross by Elliot Richards would have found the beast, who gives it back to Elliot Richards, and he's got Carver with him. Elliot Richards crosses in and deep in towards the back post where Keon Raffel and Cullinane Liebert were coming in. Just going to fall on through to him, but he does get it now as he runs in from the right-hand side. Gives it out to Elliot Richards, who's just left to centre field. Shoots, and it's straight down the throat of Matthew Irwin. Matt Yates goes to take it quickly, plays it out to the left-hand side for Danny Greenslade to have, and Danny Greenslade brings it up towards halfway lines. Allowed to travel quite a long way is the left-back for Hereford, and finds Elliot Richards, now about 5 yards away from the corner flag, in Chorley, out on that left-hand side. Flicks it back to Greenslade, good cross for Greenslade, and finds Tom Owen-Evans, and Tom Owen-Evans' header is just above the bar and goes out into the meadow end. Blakeman throws the ball in towards Jake Cottrell. Blakeman receives it back, tries to play it in towards the substitute Lewis Almond, and it's headed clear but only down this left-hand channel. And instead, what's the referee going for? He's going for a red card for Lewis Almond.
A bit of afters in the box with Jordan Cullen and Liebert after Jordan had cleared the ball. I think Almond has either kicked out or sorry, the referee is right on the spot straight away. He's blown the whistle, he's seen it, so he's off.
And then it falls for Elliot Newby, but only tries to play it back the way he's facing, but finds James Roberts. James Roberts finds Elliot Richards. Elliot Richards running at pace and looks to check it back past Blakeman, and does indeed, and manages to keep it in play out on this right hand side as he attacks the meadow end. It's still Elliot Richards going. He's gone past 3 or 4 now, checks it back to Kieran Thomas. Low drive in by Kieran Thomas, and Chorley go to clear. Baines gets it clear in the end, and then Josh O'Keefe. Bulls fans are sort of wanting the ball to be crossed into the box now, and it is indeed by Theo Wharton, and it's towards Kieran Thomas, who was deep at the back post, and Kieran Thomas heads it towards goal. Finds James Roberts and then gives it back to Elliot Richards. Elliot Richards drives it in, but it's low, and it's going to fall for James Roberts, who goes past O'Keefe, and then it's James Roberts tussling in the box as Teague tries to clear it, and Teague's got time to clear it, but O'Sullivan sees Danny Greenslade's got time out on that left-hand side. Greenslade to put a cross in, and it's up towards Kieran Thomas at that back post, and incoming was Mike Simmons, but it was slightly too close to the goalkeeper as we reach the end of normal time. It falls for Danny Greenslade. Danny Greenslade brings the on the left-hand side, brings the ball up to halfway line and then crosses in towards Gowling, who's got time to chest it down on the edge of the box, and O'Sullivan hits it on towards the goal!
What a goal!
Volleys it in straight away! It was O'Sullivan who managed to flick it back into the melting pot, chested back to Gowling, and Gowling hit it first time on the volley straight into the top left corner in front of the meadow end. Plus, we surely must be 5.5 minutes of extra time now. Hereford have deserved something from this game, and Josh Gowling, the centre-back, up against the odds, rifled that home mark.
I think you can guess from my voice, what a goal! I must have shouted it 4 times, but...
As Cullen Liebert throws it forward, and that's the end of the game. And it's a point for Hereford at Edgar Street against top of the league Chorley, and much deserved point really, I think, as Chorley ended up only with 10 men on the pitch, but it was Josh Gowling who equalised in the 96th minute